So, here we are, back at Temple in your living room. So I have a couple of quick announcements to make right here in the beginning. Alright, I will no longer be posting these on the UAHC Fort Smith site. This is not because I've had a falling out. It's not because I don't love my Temple family there. Okay, so they will only be... We are thinking about doing YouTube because it's literally easier for Lynn to put it on YouTube, and the link will be on the UAHC site.
On your site.
On my site every week. We might do one this week just so that people know that they can move over. Okay. The recent setback with COVID and other things that are going on makes me feel like I have a responsibility to be more candid than I have been, and I don't want that to reflect on our temple. In other words, the views expressed by Selena Rosen do not necessarily represent Judaism as a whole or the UAHC in Fort Smith. So this is your chance to turn this off. I will tell you that I consider myself to be very, very Jewish and not religious at all. For me, religion has a lot of connotations and a lot of problems that I don't ascribe to. I consider Judaism to be the hanger on which I put, happily and proudly put, my spirituality. So the way I conduct myself and will conduct services will reflect that. If you're okay with that, come on board. If you're not, now's your time once again, turn it off. I don't need hate mail. I've gotten plenty of that over the last year. So, that's it. That was your big chance to get out. So now, you get Shabbat services the way I want to do. I'm going to start with what will tell you why I said all what I already said. Frankly, I'm pissed as hell that people are so selfish that they insist on behavior that drives the plague, that they think they're right to pretend there isn't a deadly virus, was more important than stopping the pandemic, which we were so close to doing, till people who have done nothing but put down and make fun of people who wore masks and followed the science, called us weak, and said we were living in fear, were so chicken shit they wouldn't get a shot. They were so weak they couldn't put on a mask. Quote Arnold Schwarzenegger, people who won't get the vaccine or wear masks aren't freedom fighters, they are schmucks. You don't want to either get a shot or wear a mask in public. It's your fault we don't get to have our lives back. Your fault kids are getting sick. Your fault our hospitals are stuffed full. Your fault our kids are going back to school in an unsafe environment. And it will be your fault if we get a variant our vaccines don't cover. I'm tired of hearing about those people's rights. With freedom comes responsibility. You want to show up for what I have to say? I will do my best every week. If you are looking for something more traditional, go find it. So if you're still here, Turn to page 120 in your Siddur. This is the Siddur that we use. Give you a chance to see it in case you want to go get one. All right. And let's start, of course, with the song that's not on the page. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, oh, bim, 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 bam, sherry, yabby, yabby, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, oh, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim, bam, oh, bim, 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 bam, oh, bim, 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 bam. Get your candles ready. Candles are supposed to be lit at sunset. We normally do them in our shul at the same time all year, which is 7:30. We will light candles tonight at around that time. So if you want to watch this then, light your candles then, have some Shabbat services streaming at sunset. Do that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu bar mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Some weeks are worse than others. We fall behind at work and at home. Things that should have gotten done did not. The people we encountered spoke harshly to us, and we in turn spoke harshly to others. We wanted to do better. That was our plan. But life seemed to have a different plan. And we collapsed under the pressure of anger, pain, grief, fear, reality. God created Shabbat for us, a time to rest, to stop, to reflect on the week that has passed, and then let it go. Like the candles we light to make Shabbat holy, we can bring light to the world. It didn't happen this week, but the promise of Shabbat is next week. Next week may be better. Next week we will do better. Right now we will just be. Turn to page 123 for the Kiddush. So get your wine cups ready. Yeah, that's right. We drink wine. The heaven and earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Barei Peri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu bar mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsham b'mratzot hikilanu zikaron l'mahaseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehilot amikraim kodesh zeh letziat Mitzrayim kivanu vata veltanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodehat ve'amum ratzon hihaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekodesh on Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. In love and favor you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. So, Kaddish means to make holy. So, we make Shabbat holy with some wine. Turn to page 126. That's why we like candles too, by the way. Kind of, it's a way of setting things apart. Unless you're a wino, then you have wine every night, so what's the point, right? Let's read together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upwards in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Turn to page 128 for Ahine Matov. And God only knows when we'll be able to go back to our temples and comfortably and safely. So instead of saying, when we sing Hine Matov, to think how wonderful it will be when we are all together, let's think about how wonderful it is to be with the people that we can be with right now. And even if you're alone right now, virtually, you're with all of us. So let's think about that as we sing Hine Matov, how good and how pleasant it is that brothers and sisters dwell together. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'nagayim shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'nagayim shevet akim gam yachad. Hine Matov,
Hine Matov,
la 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 la. Hine Matov,
Hine Matov,
la 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 la. Hey! The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. Turn to page 138 for L'chadodi. And we will do verses 1 and 9. And on the 9th verse, if you wish, you may stand up and face your door and greet Shabbat. It's a symbolic thing. If it has meaning for you, do it. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi lekrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabala, Shamor v'zichor b'diku echad, Hishmi'anu el hamukad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem l'teferet b'hila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likra kala, Panei Shabbat nekabala, Lecha dodi lekra kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Oiv v'shalom ataret bala, Gam b'mzuka ol sehola, Tohem oneam segula, Boikala baikala. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi lekra kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi lekra kala, Panisha Bani Kabbalah. Turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem, where we welcome the angels of peace and of rest. Shalom Aleichem, Malakei Hasharit, Malakei Yom, Mi Melech, Malakei Amalkim, HaKodosh Baruch Hu. Bakim the Shalom, Malakei HaShalom, Malakei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malakei HaMalkim, HaKodosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'Shalom, Malakei HaShalom, Malakei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malakei HaMalkim, HaKodosh Baruch Hu. Zekim Shalom, Malakei HaShalom, Malakei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malakei HaMalkim, HaKodosh Baruch Hu. Enter in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Turn to page 144 for the Reader's Kaddish. Yikadav yikadash me'raba men B'yamad yivrachul teva mikmalkutei B'kayeh konu v'yomekon Ukayeh tekol beit Yisrael Bagala bagala Bumiman kariv V'imuru amen Yehesh me'raba mevorak V'olam me'maya Yet barak, bistabak, vipar viraman vinase, vitada, vitale, vitalal, shmeida kudasha, breku, leo meko birata, vishirata, tushmekata, vanekamata, damira biyama, vimuru, amen. Exalted and hallowed be God's great name in the world which God created according to plan. May God's majesty be revealed in the days of our lifetime in the life of all Israel, speedily, imminently, to which we say, Amen. Blessed be God's great name to all eternity. Blessed, praised, honored, exalted, extolled, glorified, adored, and lauded be the name of the Holy Blessed One. Beyond all earthly words and songs of blessing, praise, and comfort, to which we say, Amen. Turn to page 146 and rise to the Bachu, the call to worship. That's right, up till now we haven't been worshiping. We've just been getting ready to worship. All rise. Bachu et Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak le'olam va'ed. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due forever.
Praise be Adonai,
To whom praise is due now and forever. You may be seated. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with songs. Turn to page 149. And let's read together the one at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Turn to page 152 and rise for the Shema. Watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. You may be seated. Turn to the next page for the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavka u'v'kol nefeshka u'v'kol modecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anoki mitzvavecha hayom al levaveka v'shinatam levanecha v'debata baham Bishipaka bitvateka uvlekteka vaderek uvshibeka uvkomeka ukshartam leot ayodeka vehayu letotofod beinineka uvtavtam almozuzot beiteka uvishareka Leman sikeru vasetem eko mitzvotai ve'et kiroshim elekem ani Adonai elekem asher hotzet etkem me'eretz Mitzrayim lo lachem Elohim ani Adonai elekem. Emet, and once again, emet means to witness. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvah so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. Turn to page 158. And as always, before we do the Mikamoka, I like for us to take a moment to meditate on that moment in time. So close your eyes and picture that space and time. The Red Sea has parted. The children of Israel have walked over on dry land. But even when they get to the other side, here comes Pharaoh's army and his chariots and their horses and their weapons. But then even when it looks like all will be lost, the waves crash in, the army of Pharaoh is destroyed, and the people are free. And we can think of this for a moment in your life. Was there a moment where you thought everything was just going down the rabbit's hole and you felt like there was no hope, and then all of a sudden there was hope? Feel that. Reach into yourself and grab that moment in time as you sing the Mikamoka with me on the top of page 158. Mikamoka Bali Madonai Mikamoka Neda Kodesh Nora Tehilot Osefele Nora Tehilot Osefele Malkutka Rauvaneka Bokeayam Lefne Moshe Zealiani Vamru Adonai Imlak Leolam Loed Vanima Kavad Adonai Yaakov Agum Mayit Kasik Mamenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Turn to page 161. And let's read together the one at the bottom of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haparisu kol shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael va'ul Yerushalayim. Turn to page 162. And let's sing together the Veshamru. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. B'nei Yisrael, oti hele olam, oti hele olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. K'sheshit yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Latzod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Ovim ha-shavit shavat v'nafash, shavat v'nafash, shavat v'nafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Latzod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Turn to page 164 and rise for the tefillah. It's on 164, 166, and 168. Adonai sevatitaku fi agiti toteka. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rahel, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, V'Ostei Astei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mivkula Livnei B'nei Ram, Man Shemo B'Havaha, Melko Zera Moshiach Mogen, Baruch atah Adonai, Mogen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Atab Gibor Leolam Adonai, Makeh HaKol, Ata Roshia, Mekayel Chaim B'Chesed, Mekayeh HaKol B'Rakabim Rabim, Somek Noflim Borov Kolim, Umatir Asarim, Kayem Imonoto, Lishnei Afar, Nikamoka Bal Givurot, Omedom Melech, Melech Memid, Kayeh, Umatzi Washua, Animana Talech Hatakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikael HaKol. Amen. You may be seated. Please take a moment to meditate on your week. Silently say the prayers of your heart or read from your Siddur. And as always, because we're on film, I'm not going to give you the length of time you might need. You can always pause it and come back. Turn to page 180. Yehu leratzon imrefi, Degyon lebi lefaneka, Adonai suri, Adonai suri, Vigoali, Vigoali, Yehu leratzon imrefi. lefaneka. Adonai Tsuri, Adonai Tsuri, Begali, Begali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimramo, Uya say shalom aleinu, ve'al Israel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yah say shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al Israel. 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 All right. Okay, so turn to page 368 for the Aliyah. Bahu et Adonai hamvarak.
Baruch Adonai hambarak le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Okay. So, this week's Torah portion, Shoftim, which the word means magistrates, and it begins in Deuteronomy 16:18 and goes to 21:9. It deals mostly with civil law. Shoftim is one of those parshas that reminds us that you have to look for the pearls of wisdom in the words, because there's much of this parsha that's hard to swallow. It starts by telling us that we must judge fairly, show no partiality, take no bribes, justice must we serve. So it starts on such a good place. There's after that yet another warning against allowing other religions to worship among us. We are to give other religions no place among us. If it is found that any Israelite has bowed themselves to another god, they are to be stoned to death. Lots of stoning to death in this parsha. The law states that a man shall not be put to death on the testimony of only one witness. There must be two or more. If local officials cannot decide on a matter of any kind, it is to be brought before the priests for a decision. If someone doesn't like the priest's verdict and will not comply, they are to be put to death. Then it says all people who will hear and be afraid and not be presumptuous ever again. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of wiggle room. If they want a king, he shall be chosen by God. Directly after that, it says not to set a foreigner over them. But why would God choose a foreigner? Clearly, it's not God that will choose a king, but the priests. This future king is not to keep too many horses, go back to Egypt for more horses, or to form any kind of permanent colony in Egypt, nor is he to have too many wives. These things are here, according to many rabbis, because of things Solomon and David did, which only becomes really problematic if you believe Davarim, Deuteronomy, was written before all those things happened. It says any king of Israel is to have a copy of the book of Deuteronomy, so that he will see himself as an equal to his fellow man and not veer to the left or the right, but will rule according to the words inscribed here. Over and over again, Torah explains this this whole thing, which it starts with this time about take no bribes, justice much you seek. You have to put together these courts. And the whole thing is that the king is supposed to live by the same rules that the people live by. When we enter into the land, we must not learn the religious practices of the people that live there. We are told that God is kicking them out of the land so that we can inhabit it because they have abhorrent religious practices. We are to listen to other prophecies either. But then the text talks about the prophets we should listen to and the ones we should not. And how are we to know if an oracle is not speaking for God? It says that prophet shall die, and that the things he prophesies in the name of God will not come to pass. That's handy. Once again, we are told about the 3 towns to which a fugitive may flee, and who may seek refuge there. Only someone who has killed by accident. If a murderer arrives in one of these towns, the elders of the town are to give him over to be killed. The text tells us not to move survey markers. In other words, don't steal any portion of another person's land. Then once again it says a single witness cannot be used to determine a person's guilt. But it now goes on further to say that a person who gives false testimony is to be taken before God, which means the priests and the magistrates. And after an investigation, if it is proven that he indeed gave false testimony, we are to do to that person what he schemed to do the person he lied about. Once again, we are told that others will hear and be afraid. Further, we are told we must not show pity. Then you have the very famous words, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, onward and so forth. This will apparently keep evil from being done in our space. Personally, I don't see how it restores justice to poke someone else's eye out. There is, by the way, no historical record of this ever being put into practice. It in fact refers to a price that was set to pay the person for the loss of a limb, a loved one, or an eye. They are told what to pray when they go into battle, and reminded to have no fear that God marches into battle with them. There are a series of questions the generals are to ask the troops. Anyone who has built a new house, planted a new vineyard, or paid for a bride is exempt from fighting so that they may enjoy the fruits of their labor in case they would die in battle, never enjoying life. But further it says that someone who is basically afraid should go home so that he doesn't cause the courage of his comrades to fade like his. Let's think about that for a minute. Why are these men really seen as being a liability? Not because they are cowards. They're a liability because they obviously don't believe God is marching with them and will protect them. And what we already know about the Israelites at this point is it only takes a few unbelievers to turn the whole group and have them building a golden calf. Then it says when the Israelites go to attack a town, they should first offer terms of peace. Now the price for peace is that the people of the town will be the Israelites' slaves, so it's not that great a deal for the town folk. If they don't go for peace, the text commands that all the males be killed, but they can keep the women and children as spoils of war. Then there's a whole list of peoples they weren't to offer peace to at all. They were just to kill all of them straight out in an attempt to keep the Israelites from straying and worshiping their gods. So a lot of people are to be killed, but they are told not to destroy the trees, most especially trees that yield fruit. Because after all, it's not the tree's fault, and trees can't get out of the way. Lastly, we are told what is to be done if a dead body is found lying in the open, with no one seeing either how the person died or who did it. The Levites are to go to a dry riverbed, break a cow's neck, and ask to be absolved of this crime. Go into a town, kill everything human that breathes, no big deal. But one dead body, we make a huge deal about. Obviously, Torah makes a huge distinction between killing done in battle and murder. Once again, it is very clear that God so fears Israel will worship as other religions do, that a command is to kill thousands rather than risk contamination from their ideas and customs. You know what? Let's look past all the orders of killing and revenge in this portion and instead focus on a line from the beginning. Justice. Justice shall you pursue. All the turmoil in the world is caused from injustice. When people decide their rights should be above the rights of others, well, you have precisely what we are all living through right now. One of my favorite movies is Secondhand Lions. It's brilliant, and if you haven't seen it, you should. The character Hubs has a speech he gives to young men. I think we all need this speech right now. It goes like this. Sometimes the things that may or may not be true are the thing a man needs to believe in the most. That people are basically good. That honor, courage, and virtue mean everything. That power and money mean nothing. That good always triumphs over evil. And I want you to remember this, that love, true love never dies. Remember that, boy. Remember that doesn't matter if it's true or not. A man should believe in those things because those are the things worth believing in. There are things that are worth believing in, and so many things that we need to let go because they're not worth believing in. They're not making us better people. These words are amazing. When I hear them, read them, it fills my soul because it's true. A world that existed with these rules would be an amazing place if people were basically all good. Honor, courage, and virtue meant everything. Money and power meant nothing. Good always triumphed over evil, and true love never died. That would be a perfect world. Go into the land, kill everything that lives, show no mercy, save the trees? Wow. Let's quote that just all the time. We should be striving to build a world where the things Hubs says are true. We should be part of the solution, never part of the problem. Killing everything and starting over again, that's what happens when people and civilizations fail. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chai olam neta betokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah. Amen. Turn to page 371 from the Mishaberach. As always, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to give you a chance to say your list. And you can pause it if your list is pretty long, as mine is. Just do that every week. I shouldn't have to repeat myself every week. We're starting over again, which is why I'm repeating so much of the stuff, but I won't do it every week. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless and heal those who are ill. I'm thinking of Meyer Rosenzweig, my son, Jim Shipley, Jack Goodman, Shirley Amarek, Ellen Braun, Maria Horowitz, Robin and Diane Bailey, Brian Hopkins, Jane, how do you say Jane's name? Komanek, my mother. And of course, all of us who are sick, and all of us who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're tired of loneliness. We're tired of being separated from the people, the places, and the things we love. We have to do better, people. We have to get the message out there. We who've had the vaccines, we need to tell those that haven't. It's okay. It's safe. It's safer than getting COVID. You're afraid of getting sick from the vaccine. You know what will make you sick? COVID. Look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Look at how many people that have gotten seriously ill from the vaccine and put that against the number of people that have died from COVID. Use your heads and teach others. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, do better. And when you learn, teach. The person we know who had the worst reaction to one of the shots was Zeb with his first shot. He got every single side effect plus nausea and diarrhea. He still went and got his second shot. He had no reaction from the second shot, by the way. But he still went and got his second shot. He's still super happy that he has that shot because it allows him a little more freedom than he had. But we all have to get the shot, and we all have to keep from spreading it because we want to get our lives back. So, think about ourselves right now, too, as we sing the Misha Barak in the middle of page 371. Misha Barak avotenu mikor habraka limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Barak imotenu mikor habraka lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Turn to page 586 and all rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabek ladon hakol latet gidula l'reseh bereshit shelo asanu ki goy haratzot velo samanu ki masvakat hadoma shelo sam kelkenu kahem vegor aleinu kekol hamonam v'nachnu korim umeshtavim umodim lifnei melech Malkei HaMalkim HaKadosh Baruch Hu 591 V'nema V'haye Adonai L'melech Al Kol Haaretz V'yamahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'shemo Echad. And on that day the Lord shall be one, God's name shall be one. Let us say Amen. Turn to page 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around another and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love it doesn't die, people do. So when then all that's left of me is love, give me away. Okay, so before I do this part, I'm going to tell you that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the entire list this week. But from now on, I'm going to only be reading the names of people that I know might be, their family members might be watching, or the names of people I actually knew, okay? And the family members of people that I know might be watching, okay? That's it. I'm not going to read a long list to the virtual temple here when most of you have no idea even who these people were related to. So, but what I do want to encourage you all to do is two things that I have yet to encourage you to do, which is tell me if you have somebody's yard site coming up, and I will add them to the yard site list that I do here. Tell me if you have somebody you're thinking of that you would like mentioned, or if you would like to be mentioned in the Misha Barak, and I'll add you to my Misha Barak list. Okay? It gives us a way of more connecting at this time. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those who we had drawn into our hearts with our own. Tonight we remember Irvin M. Sternberg. I believe that's not Irv, that's Irv's dad.
I think.
Yeah, because I think we already did Irv's yard site. Claire Daniels, Zalman Garlinsky, Henry Goldman, Max Marks, Beverly Horowitz, that's somebody related to Richard, Hilda Marks, Gershon Barenblatt, Sadie Marks Beyer, Ludwig Langfelder, Sonja Boguslavsky, Emil S. Tom, Jake Boguslavsky. Zekranam Leverekaka. May their memories be for a blessing as we rise and recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yit Gadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah, Yalma Dirach Huote Val Mikmal Kute, Bikaye Kono Yimea Kon, Okaye de Kobe Israel, Bagala Uzman Karib Vimru Amen. Yehe Shemei Rabbah Mirak Ame Almaya. Yit Barak, Viet Tabak, Viet Pa, Viet Raman, Viet Nase, Viet Tada, Viet Tala, Viet Talal, Shemei de Kudisha Breku. Leo Meko Richa Tijata, Tush Bekata, Venekamata, Damiram Biama, Viemru Amen. Yehe Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, Valain Aleno Vio Ko Israel, Viemru Amen. O Se Shalom, Bimra, Huya, Se Shalom, Aleno Vio Ko Israel, Viemru Amen. You may be seated. All right. So, not too different if you know how we've been doing things. We are going to put it on YouTube probably because it's easier to load to YouTube. Lynn's having to wait sometimes 4 to 6 hours to upload one of these. And it should be quicker, right? Yes, I'm afraid that when I go to YouTube I will get more hate mail, but hopefully I can just delete it without actually reading it. But it also should make it easier for you guys to get to without glitching out, right?
Yes, it should.
Yeah, you should have less of the, damn it, Mother, quit making noise. Mother's throwing shit everywhere. Okay, so, and again, please interact with me. Don't make me feel like I'm talking to myself. And if you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to write me a hate letter. Just don't watch. It's like Mother always told me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
There you go.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. Amen. May the Lord deal kindly and graciously with you. Amen. May the Lord bestow his favor upon you and grant you peace. Amen. May we be a blessing to the world, and may we see that the whole world is still a blessing for us. Stay safe and be kind. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.